everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. Tonight, we're going to be talking about PayPal. We're going to set up basically a simple system that's going to allow people to buy now and then buy tokens. And we're going to build a simple application that's going to listen for events from PayPal. It's a service called IPN, Instant Payment Notification. Instant Payment Notification will send you a message to your server, and you can process accordingly. So you can listen for these messages, and you'll get a notification that says somebody bought this product, and here's their user ID. And then from there, we'll be able to update our application. We're going to have to store the information in a database. So we're going to have to build a web application in order to listen for the IPN notification. And then we're going to have to build a simple database connection, or just use a file or something to store the information in. So, to start, let's go to PayPal. So, we'll start by going to the PayPal documentation. By the way, welcome everybody who's watching. If you can just give me a quick sound check and make sure everything sounds good, let me know if volumes are messed up or anything like that. So, developer.paypal.com. This is a page we're going to bookmark. In fact, I'm just going to make a folder called PayPal because we're going to end up having several PayPal bookmarks. So the developer portal is great because it's got all the documentation, but they also have tools like an IPN tester to send test notifications, and they have a Sandbox so that you can do all your testing in a safe environment, and that's I just happen to know it's www.sandbox.paypal.com. So I'm also going to bookmark this page because that's going to be really important too. The Sandbox is essentially just like the regular site, except my streams are quite random. Welcome back, Mythic. Yeah, they are. I do cover a bunch of different topics. No guarantee about what you're going to get. It's going to be something development related. So in that sense, it's not random. It's all about development. But you might find, yeah, we did some Minecraft custom plugins the other day, and we set up a Minecraft server just so we can hack around on that. Before that, we set up Arch Linux. And after that, or before that, we did some Python AI chatbots. You can check out the previous streams. They were last couple days. And thanks, Mythic. Yeah, I've been trying to do it every day. So, where were we? PayPal Sandbox. And so to create your PayPal Sandbox accounts, you have to have a regular developer account, or I'm sorry, you just have to have a regular PayPal account. So if you go to paypal.com, I'll go ahead and bookmark this one too. This is just the regular production site. So on the regular site, you log in. I'm not going to log into my real account right here, but you would just log in, and then you would go to the developer portal, logging into the dashboard brings you to the same sign-in page. So they're linked together. Developer.paypal.com is linked to your production login. And so on the documentation, if you just search for, popular search query Sandbox. PayPal Sandbox testing, creating test accounts. Okay, so it tells you how to go to it. So once you're logged in, you click on this link here, developer.paypal.com, which is where we are. And you go to the dashboard tab and go to Sandbox and accounts. It's really simple. Okay, so I've already done that part. I've already created some Sandbox accounts. So let me pull up their login information. And I'm going to log in real quick to the Sandbox. It didn't save my passwords. One second, I think I might have to go create some new ones real quick. But I'm going to do that off stream. I'm sorry, I don't want to show my PayPal stuff here. It'll only take me a second. I'll put on some C Matrix for you guys. Okay, so you go to the dashboard and you just click on the Sandbox accounts, and then you've got a list there. So I just need to reset my password. Okay, now let's log into the Sandbox page. I'm going to log in back on stream. Sorry, I had to do that off stream. So, the Sandbox account here, you can make your own Sandbox accounts with whatever emails. So you're allowed to make a bunch of fake accounts, basically. You can even bulk upload with a spreadsheet a whole bunch of accounts if you need a whole bunch of testing accounts. Because you can set different parameters like, does this fake user have a verified bank? So you can play with all the variables and do good, thorough testing. Okay. So this is a merchant account. There's two accounts. There's personal and business, basically. So I created two accounts. One to be the seller and one to be the buyer to do the testing. And you can put as much money as you want in the account. I put $500 in this account so we can pretend we have some money to play with. So once we're logged into the Sandbox, we need to get a buy button or a sell button or whatever. So I just went into the settings. If you go to my selling tools, yeah, so it puts in a bunch of fake phone numbers and a fake address and stuff. So Sandbox is good. So back to the selling tools, there should be a way to just create buttons from here. PayPal buttons. Okay. Just gotta find it real quick. Business setup? I could just do a quick Google search. Oh, hey guys, sorry I missed the chat for a minute because I had to switch tabs, but the music audio seems to be breaking. It might have just been the song. I got some random chiptune music going now. But if that happens again, let me know. What is this for that PayPal system? Well, so the goal is just to create a basic system where somebody can buy. You get a button that says buy now, and people will buy tokens, essentially. You get a message. You get a message from PayPal when someone buys something. And we're going to listen for that and process it and then update our system. It's just going to be a fake system, but we're going to update the, the token count or whatever. So back, let's see. I'm just trying to find a button. Make a button. Tools, button. Normally it's really easy to find. PayPal, Sandbox, buy button. Button manager. I know there's a button manager. I just can't remember how to get back to it. I thought it was under business setup. There we go. How do you want to get started paying on my website? Button. Does it matter? Yeah, HTML button. Create payment buttons. Sample buy now button. Add to cart. Let's just do a buy now button. That's going to be the simplest one. Well, let's start with creating a new button. Actually, I'm going to make this font bigger, sorry. We're going to go create. Hello, Josh. Welcome. But that's not very nice. So let's do a buy now button. Item name, let's just call it 1,000 tokens. And we'll give it item ID 1000. And we'll just call it $5. We're not going to give it any menus or anything special here. I guess you can add some text. Buy these tokens now. I'm not sure where the text goes. Okay, that's where it goes. I guess you can ask, like, what is your favorite color? Is it just the music that's having a problem? Is my mic coming through okay? Okay, so you have a couple options here that I didn't say anything about. So with your merchant ID, you're saying yes. I'm guessing you're saying my mic is okay, so as long as my mic's okay, that's cool. Let me know again if it happens. I tracked it to the next song, but I want to try this actually. Some music isn't broken. I've got a couple songs here by Ace Man. Unreachable and Sync With Me. And so this Sync With Me is a Game Boy song he made, and it's actually a Game Boy ROM. When you download it, you get the audio file and you actually get the Game Boy ROM that you could load up in a Game Boy. And so it actually plays with the Game Boy. It was actually played through a Game Boy emulator and actually used Game Boy sounds and all that. The other one is just made with Renoise, but they're cool songs. So I'm playing the music inside the virtual machine now. That's probably not gonna make it better, but we'll just see. Okay, so with the merchant ID thing, you can just plug in your email address. Or if you don't want to share your email address, if it's a personal one, then you can say use my secure merchant account ID. Merchant account ID is generally a better one, but I'm going to do this one just so when we get the final product, we'll be able to swap things out and mess with it easier. And so the step 2, where you have the option to save the button at PayPal, what happens then is they just give you a tiny little piece of code with like a really cryptic key inside of it. And it will go to PayPal, and PayPal will look up that key and return the button that you specified here. I'm going to not check that. That way what we get is just the HTML that we can copy and do more with it. I want more control over it, and I want more reference material. So for this purpose, I'm just going to do this. But to be more safe and secure, make sure nobody messes with your form or anything, it's better to use the save button at PayPal. I'm not going to check out any pages, no custom checkout, no special instructions, I don't need shipping address. You can specify what URL you want them to go to afterwards. Right now, I'm not going to specify that, but obviously just drop in whatever URL you want there. And so one thing we do want to do is this notify URL. And we don't have a web server set up to go to yet, but we're just going to add this so we can change it out later. And in a few minutes, we're going to go set up the web server. Okay, so now we have this button code. Now it looks like they did it opposite. Oh no, that's just the key. Yeah, so you still have fields here that you can mess with. If you go back up, not much, I guess. You can only change that one question you had. That's okay. You just come here whenever you need to make a new button and change whatever you want. So we're going to copy that and save it. I don't have... What's the default Ubuntu text editor? Text editor. gedit, that's what it's called. Okay. So let's just make a new folder. We're going to call this PayPal stuff. And here we're going to call it, oops, buy now button dot HTML. Because it is technically HTML code. I should just make it a TXT file, but this is only for reference. We're only going to copy and paste it into something else later. And I'm going to take a second to install Visual Studio Code, just because I've got PyCharm and I'm going to use that, but Visual Studio Code makes a nice text editor. Where are we? We're in Ubuntu. Just gonna install this package real quick. They have a nice Debian package, so it only takes me a double click. And it's running. Done. It should show up in my app list now. Visual Studio Code. Add to favorites. And I can drop a couple of these right now. Hello, computers with Nikita and Nikita. Thank you. They said, I like the daily streams. I like them too. I enjoy doing them. And I enjoy having people to chat with and get some ideas. So, I got my Visual Studio Code installed. I want to open a folder now. Let's open the folder we just made. And it's called PayPal Stuff. And for whoever just joined, what we're doing today is making a PayPal token purchase system. And so far, we've created some Sandbox testing accounts, made some bookmarks to store the developer documentation. That's an important bookmark, developer.paypal.com. The other important one is sandbox.paypal.com, www.sandbox.paypal.com. That's where you're going to do all your testing. And you need the developer documentation to give you all the instructions. So we generated a button. Once you're logged into the Sandbox page, you can create a button. And we created the button. And now we have it here in this HTML code. And the shortcut for word wrap is Alt-Z. So you can quickly toggle on word wrap in Visual Studio Code. Sometimes it's nice to do the word wrap, sometimes it's not. Hacker Proverbs 1:1. Button manager, okay, we made the button. Okay, terminal, cool, terminal. What next? We got the buy button. We need to be able to click it. So we need an HTML page, like a real HTML page. We'll call it index.html. Well, why am I using Vim if I'm in Visual Studio Code? Okay, new file. Index.html. HTML, head, title, buy my stuff, buy awesome stuff, body, and in the body let's just say H1, welcome to the example store, and we'll copy our button here. Let a nice comment just so we know this is the PayPal Buy Now button. And let's see. The shortcut for formatting your code is Control-Shift-I. Okay. Control-Shift-I will do format. I didn't really like the way it formatted this HTML, but it's quite alright. This is just a tiny little sample page. Computers with Nikita says, sometimes I still put my style in the header tag. There's nothing wrong with that. Alright, hey, we got Boz. Welcome, Boz. Are you watching? If you are, great. Welcome aboard. Join the party. Okay. So now we have a simple HTML page with the Buy Now button, and we just customized the button a little bit. So our favorite color is panda. Buy Now. This should link us. So our button is pointing to the Sandbox site, so when somebody clicks that button, that particular button, now if you look at the code over here, let me highlight it. So at the bottom it says on line 29, source equals https://sandbox.paypal. So when you get a real button, you'll want to swap out the buttons in production. These buttons are specific to the Sandbox site. So we're safe to go here and test out the buy. So to buy it, I need to log in as my seller account. I was logged in before as the merchant account. So give me just 1 second. I need to reset this password. And we want to log in as customer. Oh, you know what? The music stopped. Let me know. I'm going to restart. I'm going to restart this playlist here and let me know if you still have trouble hearing the audio. Just trying to find it. There we go. Okay. Sandbox customer is ready to go. So it's and now again, if you're just joining, I made these accounts earlier. Now you make the Sandbox accounts from your production accounts. So you first have to log into regular www.paypal.com. And then you want to log in and create the Sandbox accounts and then use those accounts to log into the Sandbox. Always just say yes to anything without reading it. You always just immediately bypass terms of service. Just kidding. Always read them really thoroughly every time. So let's see. Now in the Sandbox it gives you all kinds of fake stuff. So this is fake credit card, fake money, there's a fake balance. So this file, this program in the background, it's called CMatrix. So just go look up CMatrix. Okay, so on the Sandbox page, I just bought something with this button I made, and let's go back and so this is the simple index.html file we made. It just has the buy now button. We clicked it. It brought us to the Sandbox PayPal because that's where the button is pointing to. And when we were there, we used our Sandbox account, and it looks, see in the purchase, it included the information, you know, the item number we set and the cost, all that good stuff. Okay, so now if we go back, let's open up an incognito so we have a different session. That way we can be logged in as the merchant and the buyer at the same time. So right now we're logged in as, well, let's see. We kind of mixed up our sessions there, so let's go to the Sandbox site in our primary browser. Yeah, and we're currently logged in as the Sandbox customer account. And our purchase history here shows we just bought something for $5 and our account balance is $995. This is all fake money. You can go into the production site and change any details and however much. You can put all kinds of fake money in the Sandbox accounts to test with. So in our incognito browser, we're going to log in to our merchant account. That way we'll have both open at the same time. Okay. Now, if you look inside the merchant account here, it says we started with $500. That's how much I initially put in the test account. Right now it says we have 504.55. So we didn't get the full $5 because PayPal took their cut out of it. So, you know, they took 45 cents out of it, which is about 5%? 10%? Seems like much. I think on small transactions they may take a straight cut instead of a percentage. I have to double check. It's fairly marginal, but it's a cut nonetheless. Okay, so the buy worked. The purchase went through. That's all good. We have a buy button on the website. So the next step would be when someone buys something, we want to take action. We want to get a notification. So we're going to need to set up a web server that's publicly available, and PayPal is going to need to send our server a notification. PayPal's going to send us a notification whenever a purchase goes through. Or, well, anytime any kind of event goes through, like a failure or a retry or something. So that's how we're going to get all the information. That's called the IPN. And you can customize that in your button. I'm not sure if it's right here in this button. We'll probably have to go back to the button manager. I already forgot how to get back to the button manager. So it's under business setup. Under business setup, you go to payment setup, click on your website. On your website, there's buttons, and we go here, create payment buttons. Okay. Now, I'm going to bookmark this page so we can get back to it. My saved buttons. Now, where is the button I just created? Oh, that's right. We didn't save it. We didn't choose save at PayPal. That's why it's just a plain HTML button. So now let's create a new one that's going to notify the URL of our choosing. But very quickly, we're going to need to go set up a server. So let's log back into DigitalOcean. Where are we? Okay, so just yesterday we set up a server for the Minecraft server. If you guys play Minecraft, you can hop on minecraft.devdungeon.com. Right now we're going to create a new droplet, and if you only use these for a short amount of time, you only get charged hourly. So I'm only going to set this up for the duration of the stream, and it's only going to charge me, you know, a few pennies. Look, it's for a big beefy one, it's, well, you know, a good mid-sized one, it's less than 1 cent per hour. $0.06. That's 6 cents. I guess that is 6 cents per hour. 6 cents, right. So if you go all the way down to the bottom tier, you're talking less than 1 penny. 0.007 of a dollar per hour. So all we need is a really tiny one. So we can create one of these $5 a month droplets, even though it's only 1 cent an hour. So it'll probably cost me 5 cents to run it, you know, all night while we're doing this. Okay, anyway, enough about that. Oh, one thing I do want to mention is with DigitalOcean, I got a coupon. if you sign up with DigitalOcean, you can get $100 in credit. This link should give you $100 in DigitalOcean credit, but I think it's only for new signups. I haven't actually tried it, but that's supposed to be my, I mean, everybody has one of these. It's an affiliate link that you grab from your dashboard. But if you're new, you get $100 and I get $25 in credit if you end up staying signed up. So consider that. And let's see. I'm going to create a standard droplet. Nothing special. All the defaults. I'm going to add my SSH key from the server. And I'm going to give it a host name of PayPal Test. Okay, droplet is being created. It should only take a minute. Then we're just going to SSH in. Should be no problem. By the way, how's the music been going? The music been cutting out still? Does it sound alright? Okay, our droplet is ready to go. So let's just SSH. Oh, that's not the one. Okay, copy. Now see, there's. Okay, SSH root by default. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Where are we? Let's make a user. Okay. Now, one thing to note, when you make a user, this is Ubuntu, by the way. I just chose the default Ubuntu image for the new virtual machine that we're logged into. You have two commands for adding a user. You have one called user add and one called add user. User add is the one that sucks. User add is the one that won't create a home directory. You have to like specify the home directory as a special flag, and it doesn't even make it for you unless you probably give it another flag. Add user is the one that will automatically create the home directory and ask you for a password and like run you through all the things that you need to do for a user. So add user rocks. User add can just be uninstalled, really. But now that we've done that, I want to copy my SSH key over. So let's copy that to NanoDanos, and then let NanoDano own that. Now, oh wait, I gotta edit the SSH thing real quick. Now you don't have to do this, but it's just better not to log in with root, so this is kind of a quick thing I do every time I log in. Vim? Yeah, it comes with Vim. Okay, so I want to Vim the SSH config. And we want to disable root login, but actually before we do that, let's make sure I can actually log in. So can only use the IP address for this test server right now because there's no DNS setup. And did it already log me out, really? Oh, I'm in the incognito one there. Okay. So here we are. We're going to copy that. And here, let's make an SSH shortcut for it. We'll call it pay, just because that's nice and short. Host name, we'll just give it the IP address and user NanoDano. So now if we just do SSH pay, look at that, we're already in. So sudo I don't think I have sudo yet. Let me go back to the other shell where I still have root. And let me g password-a nanodano sudo. That will add me to the sudo user group so I can start doing sudo. And while I'm here, I'm going to apt-get install tmux and zshell, git, just to make sure. A couple of those are probably already installed by default, but zshell's not. Let's change shell. Okay, zshell's set up. Now I have some repositories, a repository. In this repository, it's got all my zshell scripts. And in it, it's got a setup script that basically just sets up your zshell RC file. So now, if I just SSH to the PayPal dev server, I'm logged in and I've got my zshell set up with my prompt that I like and all my plugins and all my aliases. And one other thing it does is, so it creates the zshell RC that just symlinks to the one that I have in my repo, so it's got all my universal ones. And then it creates a local one called zshellrc.local. And the regular zshell imports this local one, and that's where I store anything that's custom to this local box that, I want there. And there's a little alias, zrcl, so I can go edit my file really easily. When I need to edit the path real quick, it's real handy. Okay, so the last thing I want to do here is go back to editing the sshd config file, and I want to turn off root login. Permit root login, no. Pub key authentication, yes. Permit, and where's password? Password authentication, no. Good. No root login, no password login, only SSH key login. Now we just need to restart the service and hope we can still get back in. We're back in. We got sudo, zshell, and all that good stuff, so we're all set up. It helps. Okay, so now that we got a good server up and running, we need to set up our little tiny web server. Now, I actually have a little tutorial on the blog about Python web servers. I'm pretty sure I posted it. One-line HTTP servers. That's what it's called. So if you really just need to serve the index page, for example, so let's pull up that index page we have. I'm just going to copy the contents. And we're just in the home server. We're in the home directory on this test server. And I'm going to make a folder called ..dub, and that's going to be the web root. So I just make index.html, and I paste in all that HTML, and then I can use any one of these one-liners. So here's the quick, there's some more in-depth examples. There's one in Python 3, Python 2, PHP, Ruby. But for this example, let's just try Python 3, because I think Python 3 is the default. Okay, so if you run Python 3 in Ubuntu, you have Python 3.5.2 available. So if you run Python, in this case Python 3 -m http.server, it's just going to start up a web server and serve your current directory. So if we open up a web browser and we go to I have to get the IP address again. So what I'm actually going to do here is Where did I put it? In the SSH config. So in the SSH config, I've got the IP address here. Now if I put the IP address, and I think this thing over here says, when it's running the Python server, it says, yeah, running on port 8000. And it's listening on 000, so it's listening on everything. So if we go to port 8000 on this public server, oh, we went via HTTPS, but this is only an HTTP server. So this one has no SSL. Not yet. We're not going to look into setting that up. Oops, looks like the HTML messed up a little bit up there, but it's okay. So this is actually the public buy now button. So we have it up on the internet now, and that's all good. So okay, we don't want to do another buy just yet. We got to figure out what we want to do next. So, okay, so we verified our server works. I'm going to go ahead and bookmark this page, even though the server's not running now because I just Control-C'd out of it. But PayPal dev web. Okay, so we need to make our IPN listener. Now, we can do that a couple ways. We could just make a PHP file. We could make a Java servlet. We can make a Django application. We could make a Flask application. I'm going to use Flask. So, let's see here. Let's make a virtual environment. Actually, let's try something else first. Let's start using PyCharm, since we're going to start doing some Python development. You could do it in Visual Studio Code, but because we're working with a remote server, I'm going to use PyCharm to set up the remote server so that I can push and run the files really easily. Okay, now that it's ready. So it still has the last project open when we were working on the chatbot, the AI chatbot. So let's open the folder we created, PayPal stuff. Now let's see, let's make a directory and we'll just call it web app. Now let's see. Okay. Let's get back into the local shell. So first thing, let's create a virtual environment. Project interpreter, add, new environment, virtual environment inside our working directory using the 3.6 default. All good. Okay, now we have a nice virtual environment. Let's quickly add a git ignore file and make sure we ignore the venv directory. And so now, one of the cool things is when we open a terminal in PyCharm, it automatically loads the virtual environment. Let me try to increase the font a little bit. I hope that's legible enough. I will increase the code font a little more as well. Okay. So we made a little git ignore. We've got a folder for the web app. Let's make a folder that's just called reference and move that buy now button into it, because the buy now button HTML is not really relevant to our app since it lives inside of this HTML page. And so with the web app, we can combine the index.html and the listener. We can basically have two endpoints in our web app. One is the landing page with the buy button, and the other endpoint is the IPN listener that PayPal's going to send a message to. So Flask is a good choice for this because it's really lightweight and really easy to get started. So let's first move into our working directory, activate the virtual environment, and then do a pip install Flask. Let's do a which pip just to make sure. Where pip, sorry. Okay, yeah, so it's got the virtual environment pip activated. Pip install Flask. Now we've got the Flask documentation open here. I'm going to go ahead and bookmark that too, because that is very useful documentation. You'll probably refer to it a lot. So now there should be a way to just run. I think you can say Flask run hello.py instead of using the environment variable, but that's okay. And they did it with a capital F. Is that the new way to do it? Has it always been like that? Pip list. Yeah, it installed it with a capital F. Okay, so we've got pip install, Flask installed. Let's just go ahead and copy their little hello world file. New file. We'll call it webapp.py. And we're just going to copy in the code that they gave us. And let's also make a little bash script called launch, just so we have something to go with. Now you can actually have, I'll show you how to use PyCharm to run it. Flask app is going to be webapp.py. Now just to see, we should be able to do Flask run webapp.py just like that. No, I guess not. So let's just try that in the command and make sure it works. Yeah, it's running on port 5000. We got the hello world returned, so good there. And we got the launch script that we can use too. Give it a chmod plus x. And we can try launching it. Failed? Oh. I think it's going to be webapp/webapp.py from here. Let's just go ahead and give it a full directory name. /home/nanodano/PayPal stuff /webapp. That way we can run it from any directory. Okay. Add a shebang line? Sure. Thank you, PyCharm. So let's see. We can launch stuff, and in this case, with PyCharm, to add a launcher, you've got all these templates, so you can have it run a Django server, or it's already got a Flask server configuration built in. So you can also just run a bash script. So here it's got just a bash, and you just point it to the launch script that we made. But if you don't want to do that, you can do Flask server. Let's see. Target application Okay, let's try that out. Let's see. What I did there was not what I should have done. That was me actually modifying the templates. I need to click the plus and then hit Flask server. And then it looks like it filled it out already. So now we've got this nice play button. There we go. So what that frees us up to do is when you hit the play button, it starts it up down here on the Run tab. It doesn't use up a Terminal tab, it's actually got the Run tab where it's got some debugging features. And you can just hit stop and rerun like this. So it's a nice way to keep track of it. Okay, so I'm going to stop it for now that it's all set up and running. You know, the launch script is going to have to change a little bit, though, when we push it to the production server. So let's do this. Base path. And we'll do base path like that. Okay, so that still worked. Now we'll just leave that alone for now. We've got our little simple program. Now what do we need to do? We've got the slash, but we don't want to return hello world. We want to return this index.html file we have. So I'm actually going to move the index.html file into the web app directory to keep it all together. I'm going to make another directory and I'm going to call it templates. Even though we only have this one template, we might add more later or whatever, so it's good to keep it organized. Now, Flask should come packaged with Jinja 2 templates, which are really nice. They're a lot like the Django templates. I'm pretty sure Django templates are built based on the Jinja templates. Okay, so quick start. I want rendering templates. That's all I want. Okay, from Flask import render template. We're gonna need that one. And then we return render template. And we don't have any arguments to pass into it. And the file is templates/index.html. Now, it says when you mouse over template file not found, but I think that's because we don't have the template directory configured. I might set that in a second, but for now, I'm just going to see if it actually works before we fix the little highlighting issue. Okay, no, so it actually had a problem, so let's see, maybe it is expecting a full path. No, that didn't do it, so let's see what they say real quick. Flask will look for templates in the templates folder. Okay, so I just need, it already expects a templates folder, so it's a good thing I built that. But then I just need to give it the template name instead. Okay, so perfect. Now we're looking at the index.html template we have from our local server with the Buy Now button. So now we can go modify the template as needed. And right now it's just an HTML template. But if we need to start swapping out text for variables, yeah, you just drop in these Jinja tags, which is the curly brace %. That's the way you insert a Jinja tag, and so what happens is it runs the file through Jinja, and if it sees any of those, it does some dynamic processing, and it returns a variable or whatever. Okay, so we don't need to add any special variables or anything right now. what we do want to do now is create a second endpoint. So we're going to do a new function, name it PayPal IPN listener. This is going to be the endpoint that listens for the PayPal event. It's probably telling me there's a spelling error. Okay, yeah, so let's fix this template thing. So you go up to File, Settings, and then you go to Project. You could also just use the search. So if you just search for template, no, it's actually not what I was looking for, but let's go do it the other way. So project, and if you go to project structure, you've got the exclude files, and you can highlight the templates directory and say, click it and just say templates. That's fine. But when we do that, now we see that index.html is no longer highlighted as a template that it can't find. And we should get some autocomplete. Even inside the, even though we're passing it a string, it should be smart enough to know that what we're looking for is something in the template. Yep, so if we do IN, it automatically knows to look for template names to autocomplete inside the templates folder. And you can set as many templates folders as you need. So that confirms everything's set up. And it also creates this little icon in the left next to the function. And if you click it, it should open up the template file. So this gives you a shortcut to the template file and it puts it next to the top of the function instead of next to wherever the render call is. Okay, so we should be good there, but we don't want that, so let's call it /PayPal IPN. That's the URL that it's gonna hit. Okay, so now if we stop and restart and visit again, now if we go to /PayPal IPN, we get back the string that says yes. Okay, but we don't want to do that. We actually want to process the data posted, and you have to like send a message back to PayPal to confirm IPN was received. And then we'll also want to update users' tokens once we get it. Okay, so we're getting closer to our final goal. For those of you who may have just joined, what we're doing tonight is building a PayPal token purchase system. So the idea is somebody buys some tokens. So what we've done is created a web server here with a simple buy now button that goes to the Sandbox. And when they do that, we need to set it up so that it sends a PayPal IPN notification to our web server. So we're just working on that right now. What we need to do, now that we know our URL, we have a remote server to put it on, we know the URL, so now we can go back into the PayPal Sandbox and fill out, where is it? We need to update our button. Okay, I gotta log back in. We need to update the button to point to our IPN listening URL. That's the next big thing we need to do. Let's see, just 1 second here. Sandbox Merchant. So we have two browsers open, one to be logged into the merchant account and one to be logged in to the seller, the buyer account. Okay, so from here, oh, I saved the bookmark to the saved buttons. So we can go straight there. Let's create a new button. New buttons are okay. Now let's do a buy now. we'll call it, 1,000 tokens again. Item ID 1,000. Price $5. No special customizations. No shipping. No tax rate. We'll use the secure merchant ID. We can go ahead and save the button here at PayPal so we can modify it later without having to make any changes to our code. There's no inventory to track. And at the bottom, no, we don't need their shipping address. They don't need to change order quantity. Well, they could, but no, let's just keep it simple for now. Can they add a special message? Yeah, let's let them do that. Don't have any special... Actually, why not? Let's make a cancel and a success page. It'll only take us a second. So let's call it /PayPal cancel and PayPal success. And we'll just say PayPal success and PayPal cancel. So the page isn't going to contain anything except some simple text that says PayPal cancel, PayPal success. That'll at least, let us know the whole system is working. So the end URL is /PayPal success. And our other one is PayPal cancel. And the other one was /PayPal IPN. And I need to get that remote URL. Okay. This is our remote server. Oops. And our Flask app is going to run on port 5000 by default, so let's just help it out. Okay, so now we can take that prefix and drop it in before all the others too. So this is our public endpoints for all of our listeners. PayPal IPN, PayPal cancel. Okay. Okay, oops. We just need to copy our button. We'll just paste it down here, so that's our newer button. And let's just replace the button that we have in our HTML template with this one, and it's Control-Alt-I? No, Control-Shift-I. Oh no, we're not in Visual Studio Code anymore. Okay, so now we've got our new PayPal buy button set up. Let's start the app over. Oh, the function names need to be changed. Okay, now it should run. Okay, yeah, that's our new Buy Now button. And we can even try it out now. It should take us to the Sandbox site. Yeah, so we are on sandbox.paypal.com. And it's asking us to log in with our Sandbox customer account. Rasaru! Welcome to the stream. Okay, so this is Sandbox stuff. We're just gonna... Actually, before we finish that transaction, well, whatever. Let's just go ahead and do it. We can do as many as we need to. Cool, so that works. That looks like it went through. Now it's probably trying to send a message right now, but our server's not listening right now. Okay, so let's go back to the Flask documentation. And here it is, the request object. We want to just print out the request object. When we get the listener. And it looks like we just have to import request from Flask. And that's automatically going to be populated with the current request. So let's give that a try. And actually hit /PayPal IPN locally. And let's see, print request. Restaru says, oh, this is looking fun. Yeah, we are. So if you just joined, we're building a PayPal token purchasing system. And right now we're hooking up the listening event from PayPal. So when someone buys something and PayPal sends us an event, we want to process that event that comes in. So okay. We got the request object. That's what we wanted. So we should be able to say request dot data. I think that's what we want. Now in this case, we're not going to have any data with a GET request, but we will with the POST request that PayPal sends us. So I'd like to push this code up to our remote server that we started up with DigitalOcean. So to do that, we can go to Tools, Deployment, Configuration. We can add a remote host. We're going to do SFTP, which is essentially saying SSH. We're going to call this the PayPal dev box. The host is... Now, I have this set up as an SSH config. So I wonder if it will recognize that. And I guess we'll find out. Okay, let's just copy over that IP address real quick. Okay, we've got all the information filled out. Let's hit test connection. Successfully connected. Okay. Now when we do, we should be able to use deployment tools to just upload to remote server. Mappings, deployment path, okay. Deployment path isn't specified, so I think that's the remote one. Let's make a same directory and call it /PayPal stuff. Okay, so now we should say upload to PayPal dev box. So it's done. Let's SSH over to that server and just verify how things look. Okay. So, looks like we need to tweak it slightly. Tools, deployment, configuration. So, here where it says root path, I think we can leave that blank. Because the mapping is already set. Okay, let's try that again. Tool deployment. No, what's it complaining about? Nothing. Okay. So the deployment path is relative to the root path. Okay, so this should work better. Okay, so you've got a nice little SFTP browser here. Deployment, upload here. Refresh. Okay, doesn't look like it actually uploaded, so let's see. I don't normally use this tool, so let's figure out what's going on. Local path is absolute. Deployment path is relative to the server root. Maybe it's because it doesn't exist. Maybe it's being nice and saying, I'm not going to create it. Well, it created the other one. Don't know why it's being so timid now. Tool deployment, upload to PayPal dev box. Okay. It's uploading everything. It's uploading the virtual environment and everything. That's not what I wanted. Which is actually a good point. So, was it not working because... Okay, so you have to actually have... You actually have to have the directory that you want to upload. I thought that when you do tool deployment upload, it will just upload the thing it's configured to, not whatever you have selected. But apparently it's whatever you have selected. So let's remove that virtual environment it shouldn't have created. And in the web app, where's our launch script? Oh, I didn't push it because let's put the launch script inside that folder, because that is kind of where it belongs anyway. And let's just remove that, so you still gotta run it from the local directory. Okay, deployment, upload. Okay, so now should have all of the latest and greatest. I'm gonna change the song. Okay. Launch Flask. Oh yeah. So let's no one. So let's do Python 3-nvn vn sudo apt-get install Python 3-vn. Python 3-virk. It said, yeah, it says install Python 3-vn. Okay, I might need to do an update. It's probably got some out-of-date package names. Yeah, that's all it needed. Okay, so now we can do Python 3-nvn vn. This will create a virtual machine environment, or not, yeah, a Python virtual environment. Here, and then from here we can do pip install Flask, and then we can launch it. Oh yeah, we need to set the environment variable. So the launch script no longer needs the directory specified like that. Okay, so what's the keyboard shortcut for this? Control Alt Shift X. Okay. Now we can try launch again. Now if we go to our server, we can update the server to 5,000. Now this should be returning our hello page. Oh, it's only listening locally. So let's see. Flask listen 0000 -- host. That's what it is. So the command is -- host. Okay. Now let's launch again. Now we're listening on 0000. We go back here and we've got our buy now button. Buy now should bring us to the sandbox. And our IPN listener should be listening now. All those little endpoints that we set up should be there now. So when we do this and we hit buy, we should hopefully see an IPN notification show up within a minute or two. So let's start looking at the code and make sure it's set up right. Let me update my bookmark to point to 5,000. / PayPal IPN. Okay, so that's the one that I just hit. Let's go check out our buttons in the store here. Go to my saved buttons. Sandbox merchant. My saved buttons. Here we go. Edit button. Oh, that's why we never set up the notify URL down here. So let's just update this to be /PayPal IPN. Update the button. And because we stored the button there, we shouldn't have to make any code changes in our template. So now if we go here, do buy now again as the customer. Oh, I clicked it in the wrong window. Okay, so now we can go here, buy now. This is the customer window. Okay, let's make another purchase. Now, ideally we should see the PayPal. There it is. Bing! We have a post on PayPal IPN. That is PayPal sending us the notification. And that is it retrying. Okay, so what we're actually supposed to do is respond to the message that they send us. IPN code samples. Okay, looks like they have a Python code sample. Here's some of the important parts. Let's just go ahead and copy and paste this, and we'll pull out the parts we need because we don't want to use it as is. So let's go into the web app, and I'm just going to paste it down here at the bottom and start working with it. So, okay, we can take care of the imports. So requests is squigglied in red because it's not installed. So you put your cursor there, you do Alt-Enter, install package, and it just does a pip install in the virtual environment. Bam, we're done there. Okay, so we do want to keep the config URLs. And in this case, we're going to be using the test URL. We don't need to take care of the header there. Okay, so we're not going to read the data through readline either. We're going to get that from the request.data. Wait, this is coming from parse. These are the queries in the URL. Okay, we'll have to do something similar. Yeah, so PayPal will continuously, well, it'll retry every few seconds. Like, you saw it tried again after like 5 seconds, and then it waited like 10 and 30. So after a while, it'll only try back like once every 5 or 10 minutes, and then after 48 hours, it'll just quit sending the notifications. So if your server goes down, there's a little grace period where it'll retry, but otherwise it just kind of slows down and tapers away. Okay, so what do we need to do? The real trick is you read the values that they give you, and you basically echo it back and send it back with one little tweak that says verified. I forget the specifics, so I'm going to refer to the code examples that they gave us here. Okay. Implement and verify the request response part of your listener. That's this. Okay, here's the workflow. IPN listener request response workflow. To receive IPN message data from PayPal, your listener must follow this request flow. Your listener listens for the HTTP post IPN message that PayPal sends with each event. Okay, we're doing that, and we're actually getting it. After receiving the IPN message from PayPal, your listener returns an empty HTTP 200 response to PayPal. Okay. All we have to do is send back an empty response. I think we can handle that. Okay. Yeah, so requests.post verify URL, params and headers. So you don't even have to, I'm pretty sure you can just omit the user agent completely. But you can customize it. You can be a good citizen and put your user agent in there. Content type, you can leave that as it is, so those headers are fine. I don't think either of them are necessarily strictly necessary, but they put them in their example code, so that's fine. The other thing we need to do is just get the params. Okay, yeah, so they're gonna send us a message. We send them one back, and then they send us one final response to that. That either tells us, yep, we got it, we got your acknowledgement, we'll stop sending you IPNs, Or it'll say invalid, I'm sorry, you sent us something wacky and we just didn't know what to do with it. Okay, so all we have to do is... I guess we can leave that... Wait, no. We need to look out where to get the params from a Flask request. So here's the request object. We don't want the method, we want environment path, full paths. What do we need? We want the parameters. So I guess that's the query parameters, meaning everything after the question mark. Everything after the question mark in a URL before the fragment or hashtag. Everything between the question mark and the hashtag. So they're using a function called parse QSL, which is part of the standard library URL parse. Parse a query string. Yeah, so it is just the query string, the question mark query. Okay, there's probably a value called query for URL. We're just looking through parameters, no, query string. There it is. So I think we should just be able to do request dot query string. Wait, no, we have to do params equals URL parse that like that. And then do params append. Okay, so we should be able to incorporate this into our little endpoint. I'm gonna go put the config variables kind of near the top. All of this code needs to go inside our PayPal IPN endpoint. Okay, so we do this, we send a message back, we get it back, and okay, so when PayPal hits this, we're going to send them a message and then we're going to respond. Okay, so if our text equals verified, let's go ahead and print verified IPN response received. If it's invalid, let's go ahead and print invalid IPN response. Okay, let's go ahead and try this. And so first, let's cancel this. Let's push everything up. Relaunch the server. Pip install requests. Run it. Go to the bookmark. Oops. Okay, we'll do another purchase. Pay now. This is all in the sandbox again, so it's all fake money. Now we should see, bam, an IPN post. Now ideally we should see, yeah, something isn't happening properly. let's see. We're not getting really any helpful, so we should at least here say some other response. And just kind of print whatever we did get. Maybe I'm messing up here with the return, let me think. So, bam, we're gonna get it in. Let's go ahead and print the params just to sanity check. You could debug too. You can even debug remotely, but I'm not gonna mess it up. Backstore, welcome aboard. Okay, request.post to the verify URL with our params and our headers. Verify the SSL even. Raise if there's an error. Does it need to be asynchronous or something? No, it shouldn't. Okay, let's see. Push it up, relaunch, and let's make a purchase. We should at least get more debug information, if nothing else, and figure out where in particular the problem is. Okay, doing an, oh, it already, that might have been the one from before. Resending. So we should see another in a second. Yeah, you know what? It's not changing. Let me make sure that... Yeah, you know what? I wonder if that cache, that PyCache, had anything to do with it. I don't think it did or would. We should still, I mean, we should be seeing something. We should be seeing some more debug text at all. Okay, print IPN event received. Now my return here. Okay. Now, if this doesn't give us the information we need, and it doesn't, let's figure out what's going on. Let's edit the web app.py and make sure it looks like, I mean, yeah, it got all of these. What? Why is it? It's not even triggering the initial print. Let me see. Okay, so we're getting a post to PayPal IPN. So, you know what? Is it not getting triggered because it's a post? Do I need to say post? Let's see here. I guess it's just a list of strings. Let's see if I need to do that for it to actually listen and process the post. Now, by now, should see the IPN message pop up here. There it is. Boom, boom, boom. That was the problem. I thought that by default, app route would route all of the methods. But if you hold control and click on it, it should bring you to the source. I don't know what happened. I think that was it. But okay, so at least we got our debug information. It's not liking our final response. So let's do a little debugging here. So it's okay, so checking response. Let's print the whole response. Okay, let's try that. That should give us a little more information. I need the other Firefox. Okay, let's do another quick purchase. Yeah, I know the other one. Okay, well it's already. So what is it not happy about? Yeah, it didn't like our... Okay, so we're back at the workflow. Here it is. After receiving the IPN message from PayPal, your listener returns an empty HTTP 200 response. Otherwise, PayPal resends. Your listener sends the complete message back to PayPal. So I need to send the whole body back. I think that's why they had that code in there. No, standard in read line, yeah, because this is a CGI. They picked a really terrible Python example to do it, but it's using CGI, reading the body. Okay, so I shouldn't get it from the it's a post, so it's not coming from the parameters are not coming from the query string. They're actually coming from the body of the request. It's data, and I think I need to do like a encode UTF-8. Is there a dash? Is there no dash? Let's go into the interactive interpreter and do X or let's shoot. Well, we'll just get an error if it doesn't work. So I've got a whole tutorial on working with binary data in Python. Let's just look for the encode. Yeah, there's a UTF-8 dash UTF-8, okay. Okay. Error message is good, because they're helpful. Error in app, exception, yeah, figured. Bytes has no object in code. Decode then. And it's getting... I don't even have to do any more purchases because it's pretty much just resending all of the failed attempts now. But they start slowing down, so they'll taper off and slow down and then eventually stop. Okay. This one should be a lot better. I'm feeling a lot more confident about this one. Hey now. And we should see success. We should see verified, actually. Okay. Let's try this. Print request dot query string print request dot yeah, request dot data. Those things. What do those look like? By again. Again, we're doing all this on the Sandbox, so no real money being used. Okay, wait for the IPN event to show up. Empty body, empty query string. Let's go back to the workflow instructions. Your listener returns an empty 200 response, and that's what we're doing at the end, is just returning an empty 200. Okay, your listener sends the complete message back to PayPal. Prefix the returned message with the command notify validate. But do not change the message fields. I didn't get any message fields. That's the problem. So I'm not pulling them. Okay, maybe it's like request.post data. Flask get post data. No, I have the documentation open. Where is it? Okay. Search, what am I looking for? Request object. Okay, here's the request object. Now, where do I get the post data? Okay, I'm not seeing anything obvious here. Get data. The string representation of the request body. Thank you. I'm pretty sure that's all I needed. Get data, because it's a post. That's the params. Restart. Rebuy. Okay, we should get the PayPal message any second. after clicking buy now. Now I'm feeling way more confident about this one, right? Yeah, look at that. Oh, it doesn't need decoding because... Wait, where is it decoding? It's not decoding anywhere. What line? Line 30? I guess it wants the bytes. Contains the incoming request data as a string. Get data. So data and get data are pretty much the same thing. In my case, it doesn't seem to matter. But where's the error? Line 30. URL line parse decode. It didn't like the get data. It seemed to like it better when I decoded it myself. Hey now, request data dot decode. Yeah, so I'm not getting a message with all that info. Request dot post? I mean, let's see how this guy does it. Okay. I thought that was it. Yeah. Oh no, so before I was using the query string. That was the big difference. So... Okay, let's try and print everything about the request. Request.args? Is that just an old way of doing it in Flask, or is that still... I mean, let's try. That might be a list or something it doesn't like. But right now I'm kind of taking a couple shots in the dark. Actually, you know what? I have code that does this already. I should just refer to that really quick. Okay. Request body. Yeah, so it's pulling the request from the body, not the query string, so I can confirm that much. It's not called body, it's called data. And we can decode it. It's UTF-8. Okay, so... I'm confident that that that's the right way to do it. I'm not getting the data. It's like they're not sending me the data that I'm expecting. Let's try this again with some more debug info. Okay, now Flask decorator. I bet I might need to like add a decorator that says past data or something. Python Flask app route decorator. If we look right into the source code, we might see the options here. Yeah, so rule, endpoint, and options. Okay, a change methods is a list of methods. This rule should be limited to get post. By default, a rule just listens for get. Let's see. Do I have to do something like data.read? I shouldn't have to do that. Python Flask get post body. Request.form, request.values. I mean, is that it? Go ahead and buy. I'm gonna have to take a quick water break in a moment. Okay, bye now. Watch for our message any second now. Immutable multi-dict has no decode. Okay. So it didn't like the form. They're all coming through empty anyway, is what it seems like. Okay. And the other one they mentioned was request.values. In order to get the payload as a JSON, you can do request.getJSON. I guess the question is, do I even need to use this parse QSL? I mean, if what I'm passing it is just empty anyway, I mean, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it seems so empty. Okay, let's do another purchase. Yeah, I think I need to go get some water, do a quick leg stretch. So I'm gonna take a 5-minute break if this doesn't work here. Take a bathroom break and everything, but I will be back. Okay, let's see. Okay, that is good. This clarifies a lot now. So we've got an immutable dict coming back. Now which one is that? So that's query string data form. Okay, form dot as string. Is there like a form dot as string or something? Now that needs to go through as the params. So the form is essentially the params. So let's just try this. Request.form. Let's just try this. Let's make a whole new variable. Params equals request.form. Copy it up, Control-Alt-Shift-X, restart it, and then let's go ahead and do another quick buy. Oh, it's an immutable dict, so let's copy it over into a mutable dict. Is there a copy keyword? No, I'm thinking of other languages, okay. Python copy immutable dict to, I think what I have to do is dict. That should create a new default mutable style dict using the other one as a default, as a starting place. Hey now. What? A dict has no attribute append. I guess it's technically a list of tuples. It's not a dict, it's just a list of it's a list of key value pairs. Kind of like a dictionary, you know? Except tuples. Tuples are immutable. So you can't change tuples, so it's an important thing just to be aware of. Let me make sure I copied it over. Okay. Quick buy. Again, this is all in the sandbox. No real money. Buy now. Wait for the IPN. Too many values. My goodness. This is... I don't know why Flask is like making this so difficult, because of how it is just handling the body here. So let's so form has all the data. All right, I need to take a quick break. I'm gonna grab some water and all that good stuff. So I'll be back in just a minute.
All right. All right. Now where were we? We were trying to figure out why it was so difficult to pull the... We're trying to get the body of the information from the Flask post, but it turns out it gives it to you in the form variable,
And in the form variable, it's an immutable dict. And I can't append to it. Python immutable dict to a regular dict. Yeah, so there is a copy function. Let's see. Oh. It's actually a class. Immutable multidict is actually a class provided by the Flask. By the Flask dependent. This is the workzug is like core library underneath Flask. Okay, so immutable dict, is there like copy, dot copy returns a shallow mutable copy of the object. Okay. Okay, thank you. So request form dot copy. And all my woes shall be gone. Is that a high expectation? By now? Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is! Multi-dict has no attribute to it. Okay. Regular dictionary. I'm so confused now. So it's a dictionary that has tuples inside a list. So it's just an awkward dictionary. But it's a list, so maybe I need to list. Now where were we here? Flask. Immutable multi-dict. I want the official documentation, please. It's close enough to the official docs. Immutable dict, so they have a copy. And do they have like a to list? Like iter list, but returns a list, dot lists. Is it going to give me a bunch of different lists? Oh man, this is like something's really wonky. The body of the data should be in the body, but it's not. It's not in those. Like if we do request.data, print request.queryString, print request.args. Is it in the args? Is that why I'm having a big brain fart? Okay, copy it up. Launch it. Yeah, so like body empty, query string empty, args empty, but request.form is populated, and request.form gives you back some weird immutable dict list of tuples that seems to be really difficult to
get out of it. Let me just see if there's a Flask, Python, PayPal IPN. Yeah, someone's probably done this. So how are they doing it? Request.form.iterItems running through chain. Running through string join. Really? Is this what you have to do? Just to pull out the body as a dictionary? Okay. Now IPN verify extra cards. Okay. Okay. So this is the thing that I was getting stuck on here. You can do request.form. Okay, so chain request form. That's going to give you back the list thing that I want. And then I should be able to do that. Iter tools. Okay. Okay. I think that might finally do it. Hey now. Now what's going on? Now, this example's probably really old. 2013. Flask request. So let's see how they pull the body in of the info. Okay, request.form. For blah blah in iter items. So that's doing the same thing. It's doing iter items on the thing. I mean, it stores it as a different variable, but that shouldn't. Now, what is this? That's something a little different. Now, what if I just... Oh, you know what? Is form a function? I just kind of lost it there. No, it's not a function, it's a property. So can we do, what if we did like... let's just... Let's see if that helps. Give us some debug information. Too many values. Okay. So yeah, I still think it's a tuple that it's returning.
list values. .toDict. I just had to scroll down a little farther. Request.form.toDict. I don't know why they made this so convoluted to pull the body of the data. Dict has no attribute of that. I guess that's true. I would just set the value like this. Success! Look at that. Look at that. Verified. Finally. Verified. All it took me like 45 minutes just to figure out that request.data doesn't actually contain the body of the post. If you want the body of the post, you have to do request.form.toDict to get it out of its weird immutable dict list tuple thing that it is. But now that that's all sorted out, we can move on with our lives and finish what we were doing. Okay, now I can get rid of all this debug information, because I don't need to debug information anymore. We know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. Now, oh, I'm not on the remote server. Okay. Restart. Let's just do one more for good measure, just to make sure it all works. We just want to see the big word verified. Verified IPN response received. We are done with that piece of it. Okay. So that little piece took a little bit longer than I expected because Flask handles these bodies in a way that I was really not anticipating. Now that we figured it out, it's just request.form.toDict, and then we add the command notify validate, and then we send back the message, and they'll send another one back. It's a little handshake acknowledgement that happens. Okay. Now the one last thing that it should do, because we gave it a success URL, it should forward us. I thought it would forward us to the success page, but guess not. Okay, verified IPN response received. Okay. So we got the IPN, but now we need to figure out who sent it to us. Who bought this thing that we just got notified about. So let's print the params again. Maybe we can just look back in the history, but one of those params is going to be the custom values that we added. So you can see who bought it with their email, but that doesn't necessarily translate to who bought it. I'm sorry. The email of who bought it doesn't necessarily translate to the email of the account that they have on your website. So you want to send, I mean, it might, but there's no guarantees. So what I would recommend doing is in the custom field, you can specify a custom variable. So let's go back to editing the buttons. Inside the button editor, it will let us set a custom value. And where are we? My saved buttons. There's the buy 1,000 tokens. Let's edit the button. Now if we go down to the customize one, we'll see. Now I believe they only allow one custom variable, and it's called custom. And so you have to say something like user ID 9999. And you have to give it your own little string data there. If you want to hold more than that, you have to like make a JSON data object, because you only get one field. Oops. You only get one field. Custom user ID. But what you can do is override the values here. Yeah, so this says command. You should be able to do something like input type equals hidden, name equals custom, value equals user ID 9999. So let's just try that and get our message again and see if that sends us. I haven't saved the button yet. I haven't changed the button. It's open, but I haven't changed it. So hit save. So I'm gonna buy now. Now this buy now button has this new custom thing that we added. So pay. We should get the IPN message here any second. IPN event received, verified IPN response. Okay, it didn't print the params that I expected it to. Okay, let me push this up. Push it up and restart the server. And now, after restarting, it should print out the values. Otherwise, there's something fishy going on. Bye. Okay, perfect. So as we can see, in our body we have custom, and we got the value that we wanted. So just to test something, I'm going to send another one, and we're just going to call it custom. Okay, let's push that up. So basically, what's going on here is, even though we have the button saved on the site, right? So I'm actually going to delete this, and I'm not even going to save any changes. So we didn't make any changes to the button at all. The button is still the same. It didn't even have the custom field available. So I'm going to show that by going to Edit Button again and pulling up the custom values. So there's nothing there but the notify URL. And you can override that too by just adding another hidden field with the notify URL. But that can stay the same. So we can just set the value there. And what I'm curious about is if I go back and I do another purchase. Before, I thought that the only field you could have is one called custom. Now that may have changed, and I'm about to verify if that's still the case, because I posted. There we go. Yeah, see, the other one didn't go through. It just cut it out. Unless it showed up like way at the bottom. No, it's alphabetical because it's pretty printed, and it's just not there. I mean, I will push up again and run because it's possible. You know, I had a cache version here, so I'm gonna double check. I guess you could call it quadruple check. No. Wrong window. Okay. This is gonna be the last one I have to do for this. Okay. Yeah, so it sent us the one named custom, but that's it. It doesn't send us the other one. So yeah, you get one field, and you gotta put, you know, whatever your own format is in there. It's just text that you'll have to parse. But that's how you put in a specific user ID. So if this was a dynamic web application, then what you would end up doing here is using the Jinja thing here to do this. Well, let me look it up. I think it's that. Let me do a quick search here. So, Flask, Jinja templates. The example. We just want to print a variable, and the syntax for printing a variable. And the syntax for printing a variable is, okay, Jinja print variable. There we go. So the brace percent sign is for statements. Double bracket is printing a variable. So double bracket's the equivalent of print. No, double braces, I should say. But you have to set the user ID. So in our web app, we'll have to do something like user ID is 99999. Let's see. Flask, pass Jinja template data.
for is the server side. Data equals, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so data equals. So now it's going to dynamically populate the form with this user ID. Now right now we just have a hard-coded user ID, but ideally you would do something like, you'd have a function like get current user ID, and it would return whatever value. So you'd say, set the user ID to the current user. That way, whoever is on the buy page, will have their user ID set in the custom field. So we can verify that by pushing it up and making sure that it's got the 7777 values on the web page. So if we do view source, it looks like I need to do a refresh. It looks like I need to do hold on. Something's not right. It didn't push up. Oh. Yeah, I gotta make sure I have the right. Make sure I have the right folder selected when I do a push deploy. Okay, so now if we go back and we refresh and we look at the source, okay, yeah, we see the user ID and it's blank. So hold on, user underscore ID. In the web app we have user underscore ID. So it's there. Let's see real quick. Flask Jinja template render. Base layout, okay. Now I want to see how you pass the data from the view. Render templates, render underscore templates. Oh. Okay, so it's going to take whatever variable name I give it. It doesn't have to be called data. This should actually be user ID. Like that, I think, is what it's saying. It's going to automatically take whatever the variable name is and assign that. So let's push that up. Refresh, make sure that's the case. Okay, yeah, so now it's got our user ID being dropped in there. The dynamic user ID. So that's how you would get it set up so each user will you get a notification, you'll know which user bought it. So let's rename this buy page. So when someone hits the buy page, they're presented with a button. The button is going to be slightly customized with this little custom field that's going to drop in their user ID. That way, when the IPN notification goes through, like let's go ahead and make a purchase real quick.
then the IPN notification that we get from PayPal is going to have that custom variable when we receive it. And we're going to be able to say, okay, got it. That was user, where is it? Custom user ID, dot, dot, dot. Oh! It didn't get passed through there. So it didn't get passed through. It was there in the template. I'll do it again real quick just to make sure that wasn't an old buy page that I had open that was legit messed up. Because I can't see why that didn't work. So now when we get the notification again, custom user ID equals blah blah blah. And so when we process it, we can do, and we only want to process it if it's verified. If it comes back as verified. Otherwise, it could be any random person who sent you a totally fake IPN event. And so you really don't want to let somebody send you a fake event that says, oh yeah, I totally bought 8 million tokens. You must get the verified response from PayPal. And so in this case, we've already got the params, right? So we can look up the custom, and we know that it's going to be a string that has the colon in the middle, and then we want to grab the second value. So when we put it in a try, we can say user ID of buyer, and why is it? Oh, it needs the accept, that's why. So okay, and let's turn off this big fat debugs print statement. So now if we push it up and we run it, we can confirm that when we get the message from PayPal, we are accurately parsing out the user ID of the person who bought it. So let's go back to the other window. Do one more quick purchase, and what we get back should still be the same, but this time we should see a nice message that says the user who purchased this is user ID, yada yada yada. IPN event received, we verified, good. User who bought item, 7777. So this is where you would essentially take some action, like update database. So welcome Crystal.Gemma. They said, having to test PayPal stuff means you lose a couple cents with each test of a transaction verification because of percentage fees, or does it give the whole amount to you? So that's a good question. We're not actually using any real money. So at the beginning, we covered you log into the production PayPal site, and then you create Sandbox accounts. And then you do all of your testing on sandbox.paypal.com. And so when you create your Sandbox accounts, you can put in however much money you want. It's not real. It's all isolated in the Sandbox environment. So I just created a couple accounts and threw in, a couple $100. So it is true that on the Sandbox, when you do a buy, you buy something for $5, then in the merchant account, you'll only see $4.50 because it is taking the cut out of it. but it's all fake money in the sandbox. So you can do all the testing you want. And in this case, like all you have to do is swap out the endpoint with and basically remove the word sandbox. So switching between testing and production is as easy as swapping out the sandbox URL. Yeah, the one thing that's not very good about the PayPal sandbox testing is subscriptions. You can't send arbitrary subscription IPN events, so it's kind of weird there. But for the buy now stuff, it works really great. So add 1,000 tokens to the user account. So now that we got the information back of who bought the item that we specified, we can take the action needed. You know, in this case, if we had a web app, we'd update the database. We'd probably want to store what time they did the last transaction, update how many tokens they have, and all that good stuff. Okay. So let's clean this up a little bit. My end goal here is to commit and push all of this to a GitHub repo that has the examples, basically so I can use this in the future as a reference in case I ever need to implement some PayPal stuff. So let's start cleaning this up because we did a lot of development over the last couple hours and it got a bit messy. So let's start closing windows that we don't need. Stuff that's unrelated, not even part of the project. So I'm just adding some notes here in these snippets. Okay, so we just have a couple buttons, a couple sample buttons. We've got our Flask application. We've got our very simple template. We've got our launch script for reference on how to run our app, and remember we gotta do pip install Flask and requests, and we can actually make a requirements.txt and just put Flask and requests. That way, if you want to do this later, you can just do pip install -r requirements, and it will go and ensure that these packages are installed. So Crystal Dutch Emma says, I came in real late in the development process of the stream, but I might check the earlier parts in the morning when I wake up. Yeah, I hope you do. It's really long, and I spent like 30 minutes getting stuck on something, so you know, skip through parts of it, watch it off fast forward or something. But you know, we did start kind of from the very beginning. Let's see now. So we need this to be a good reference. So the requirements is good to let us know what packages we need. We got a couple buy now buttons. This isn't going to be the most in-depth, so we're just going to say, hey, it's Diff Fakadihi. Welcome back. So, just gonna write a little, real short README for future me of what this does. So, it's a simple Flask application with a landing page that has a buy now button. When a purchase is made,
IPN notification is sent and processed. If notification is verified, take action. So, all the real big logic happens in this PayPal IPN listener function. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of, some of those comments I think came from the example. Okay. So we're gonna use some print statements to kind of document it too. So I'm just making a quick note about this whole block right here. And then here it's see if PayPal confirms the validity of the IPN received. Because again, we don't want just anybody to send us a message and be like, yeah, I bought 1 million tokens. We need to make sure that PayPal says yes, this is indeed verified. So that's the whole reason of this, the handshake thing, where we get an IPN and before we're done we have to send it back to PayPal and say, hey, did you really send this to us? Is this valid? And then PayPal sends us back again and says, yep, verified. And then it says, thank you for acknowledging. We will no longer send you these notifications because you acknowledged it. Okay, so this is all good. I'm gonna throw in a couple links here though, because without the links, you're kind of out of luck. Okay, so we need the Sandbox URL. Use Sandbox website for performing tests. Okay, but in order to make the Sandbox accounts, you have to sign into the developer portal. So use the developer portal to create the Sandbox accounts. Use the Sandbox website to perform tests. Let's see. So use that. What else? I bookmarked a couple things. What do we have? Well, there's the production website. What else did we bookmarked? The Sandbox, the developer portal, and the My Save buttons. So, what is My Save buttons? Command equals button management. Okay, let's just make sure that bookmark works. Because it was actually kind of difficult to figure out where that stupid page was. The button management page. Yeah. Save button page. Sandbox. So this is going to be the same for production. You're just going to remove the Sandbox
thing there, but okay. So there's some helpful links. And got an overview. Actually, you know what? Let's also, while we're here, let's go. Let's actually put the link to the live stream of the code as a reference. So where are we? What else do we need? What other information is important? Let's just have a notes section. Set a custom value in the IPN message by setting the hidden form field custom. Okay, that's an important one. The other important one is creating the buttons, and I already got a bookmark for that. What else was? I feel like there's one more thing I wanted to mention. Let me go check that button page. So I need. Here we are. Edit button. I feel like there was something I wanted to make note of in the edit button. Oh yeah, it was set the IPN notification URL. So you can do that in the PayPal button editor. Garcia Lasky, hey, welcome. He says hello, I'm new here. Glad you joined. We're probably not going to be on too much longer here, but I hope you come back. You know, I'm starting to do this regularly, trying to do it every night. Different topics every night, all related to development, but kind of a grab bag, everything from gaming to security. Can't override. So let's preview this. Looks good. Okay. Any other important notes I want to put in this before I send it off? Any other notes to future me? So let's recap, and I'll kind of think about it as I recap what we did. So for those of you that just kind of joined late, at the very beginning, we went to the regular PayPal site. Well, the first thing we did was we went to the developer page, right? developer.paypal.com. This has all the documentation for how to do things. You log in to the production portal, the production website, and in the production site you just go over to the sidebar and you go to Sandbox accounts, and then you create some Sandbox accounts, and then you can log into the Sandbox website. You can give yourself a bunch of fake money and do all the testing you want on the Sandbox site. Then on the Sandbox site, once we were in there, we went to the create a button page, and on the create a button page you can create a new button over here. In this case, I created a button. You just fill out 1,000 tokens. You fill out an item ID and a price, and then at the very bottom you can specify some custom variables. So in this case we've got the notify URL. Notify URL as Okay, so in the notify URL, you have to give it the address of a web server and a web URL that you own. In this case, this is a server that we stood up on DigitalOcean, and we wrote this little Flask application to sit there and listen. And on this Flask application, we have an index page that is hosting the button that we created. So it's a very simple HTML page that has the PayPal button that we created in the button creator. And then, so that's the index HTML template. And in the web app, we have a route for the landing page just to render the index template. And in the index template, we actually mimicked a typical web app where it's got a user ID. So this is just an example of showing how to put kind of a dynamic value into the template. If you click this here, it'll bring you to the template and you'll see the curly brace user ID. That's a Jinja template tag to print a variable, so we're printing a dynamic variable there. Even though it's called a .html, it's actually getting parsed through this render template function, which is getting parsed through Jinja. So then from there we created another endpoint for the PayPal IPN listener. IPN being the instant payment notification. So every time someone does a purchase, PayPal's going to send us a notification so that we can take some action. In this case, we're going to take the message we get, send it back to PayPal, and verify that I don't blink a lot. And verify that PayPal actually sent the message. If PayPal actually sent the message, then we would take some kind of action here using the user ID that we pull from the IPN message. In this case, taking an action would be like updating the database to grant the user, 1,000 tokens if that's what they bought. In this case, you would probably want to inspect, instead of the parents custom, you would inspect the product ID, and you would have to store the product ID. Like in this case, on the PayPal button, you tell it what your item ID is. So let's say you had an item 654, then you'd have to kind of store in your database what item 654 is, and be like, okay, that was 1,000 tokens, so let's give them that. That's really the gist of it. This PayPal IPN endpoint will process all that and verify that the transaction went through. So that's how you set up a PayPal IPN listener to listen and take action whenever somebody makes a purchase. So is there anything I missed from the README here? I am going to create a GitHub project. Alright, diff, fakudahi. Goodbye, have a good night. Let's go back to the one here. Okay, let's do a new repository for Dev Dungeon. PayPal Flask IPN. Example of IPN processing. Flask. Make it public. Okay, so I want to put that URL into the README too. Okay, so now we can do the git init here, git remote, add origin, git add, git status, check, make sure, oh yeah, okay. We don't want that PyCache directory in there, that's for sure. That's inside the web app directory. Now why don't I see it in the file browser? also want to add the .idea. Those files are part of the editor. I don't need to add those. So git reset will unadd files, right? Yeah, that's right. Git status, make sure it only added files we want. Yep, those files look good. Let's commit. Let's push it. Git push origin master. Let's do. Yeah, that's fine. Let me just type it in. Okay. Now we can verify that it is up on GitHub. Cool. Looks good. All the code's in there. Okay. I think this is going to be a good reference. So, oh, it didn't have an email address. Oh well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions, let me know. Even if you're watching this after the fact, you can leave a comment, and I'll still try and respond. While we're here, I encourage you all to check out devdungeon.com. You can join the Discord. There's a link to the Discord there. I have a book out. You can buy my book, Security with Go, if you're interested in Go and or security. And also subscribe, like, do the notification thing, do all that good stuff, and share it with your friends. I'm going to try and do this nightly, so 9 p.m. is 9 p.m. Central is when I try and go live, so around that time. Hope to see you guys around, and have a good night.